Hi everybody, today we're at my swing studio in St. Anne's Golf Club. We're going to be talking a little bit about quick fixes and what that does to your game and to you and how it ties you up into knots. So I'm just going to give you a brief description of what I mean by that. So my big thing with coaching is it's not about quick fixes. So if you're that type of person that goes out to play and is hitting the ball a certain direction, which I believe in, which my previous video would have it on, you react to the ball. That's how you fix things. But it's about finding the one thing that makes everything else work, that domino effect. So you're not manipulating all the time. And if you have one quick fix after another, you eventually tie yourself up in a bundle of knots. So what I mean by that is, this is our normal string. This is our golf swing, smooth and straight. At different stages, that becomes limp when we start hitting the ball different directions. And rather than going for a lesson and getting a little bit of advice of figuring out what it is, which is normally to do with the setup, you mess around with the swing or even little things to counteract it. So say you're a type of person that slices it out to the right. Traditionally, most people will close the club face. So if we close the club face, that's knot number one to counteract that shot. So you might hit that a little bit straight for a period of time. Then all of a sudden it's still slicing because it's creating a different move, even more what I call over the top movement on the way through to the ball. So then we do another quick fix, which is we straighten the grip, make it strong to close the club face. So then that's another knot, like I'm tying now. So it's a knot on that line, like so. Then eventually we stop hitting it straight and we stop the slice. We end up hooking it. So I aim further right to counteract that shot. So we tie that other knot. That's our next quick fix along that line of fixes. So we got one knot after another, and they're nice and tight. And then the ball starts out to right and ends up on our target. Then we get to that point where it becomes what I call a smother hook. And when you're at that point where the ball is going straight but immediately left and keeps going left, you can't play with that because you can't get to target. You're aiming further and further right, might mess with the grip, things you've already tried out, mess with the club face, ball position, and that ties in one knot after another. Then eventually you get to a point, what I call a dead end, and you end up like this, a bundle of knots. No ending, and constant circle over and over again. And then what that does to you eventually is there's no out, so you end up going like that. So your head goes. So what you do is you just throw them in, throw the rope in, throw your swing in, say that I've had enough. So that will happen to, if you're that type of person, that would have happened to you at some stage. One quick fix after another rather than solving the problem, which keeps tying you into a knot after another knot after another, eventually where it's that tight you can't get to the point where you're trying to undo it. And that's where you go to a coach and you're so much tied up in knots that your coach has to then bit by bit unknot each one of those bit by bit. And that's where you've got to be patient with your coach as well. But before you get to that, if you ever see an issue, yes, try things out. But if you find it's one fix, especially after the first one, is fixing another fix, and then eventually it's causing the same issue or something even worse, get to your coach ASAP. And that could be me or someone else. So what I want you to do is not, at the most, is have that knot, which is the beginning of your golf swing, which is your setup. And then this knot is the one thing that you have to repeat all the time. And that could be down to having a strong grip that suits your body swing or ball position or certain posture. So that's setup. After that, this is your variable. It changes from day to day depending on wind conditions, how you feel. So little things will change in setup as long as you know the little idiosyncrasies that are in your golf swing that need to be changed. So let's go back to that scenario of somebody that is hitting it out to the right. So there's quite a few things that can cause it. This is why you need someone like myself. One of the main things I see is a bad posture. And normally what happens if you're slicing it, you're swinging over the top, which is this direction here to the left. And a lot of the times the club face is actually square. So I'll put this little stick down for you and show what I mean by that. Square and alignment. So So a lot of the times your club face is actually coming back straight, but your swing path is where that white line is, it's going that way. So a lot of times it's not the club face, because if I come in this way with a straight club face to where I want the ball to go, which is open to that, it'll cause a slice. So I'll show you that now. Okay, so I'm going to give myself a bad posture, which is sitting back in my heels. That causes me sometimes to swing that way and away for me to get at it because my body can't move. But with a square club face, which pushes it out to the right like that, big slice. The other thing that can cause it can be grip. Well, one of the main things I see could be as simple as the ball being too far forward in your stance with certain clubs. So what I mean by that is, that's middle. And as I get there, it's too far forward. So what that can actually do to you is this. If I have the ball too far forward, like so, it can actually cause my shoulders to be aiming left. With a straight club face, with a good swing, with a good posture, but coming in what looks like over the top because of my shoulders with a square club face. And that will give me that slice again. So low and right. So that's what I'm saying. It could be very simple thing in setup. It might be your swing, like that last shot there. It could be a simple thing as posture, sitting back too far, which forces my arms to go that way, away from me with a straight club face at the target, not necessarily to counteract that shot to the right. So that's why it's important to go for a golf lesson, to untie all those knots so you don't get to a position where you're at a dead end and there's no way out, and you're at that point in your game where you're going to give up, or it becomes very difficult for you or whoever you go to for a golf lesson to undo those knots. And if you do, and you're at that end game, which I've come across a few people over my years with that, it takes time to unknot, and sometimes there'll always be a little thing in there that will never go, but we can manage it. And everybody has their little bits and pieces they have to work on. So remember, it's not necessarily giving yourself a quick fix every time when you're in here and working that all over and over again. It's about having a good routine with your setup, understanding what your setup to suit your game is, not necessarily a textbook one for everybody. That's why one-to-one with your PGA professional is very, very important. And simple things, having a good posture, half decent grip that matches your swing, knowing the ball position that suits your swing. And what I mean by that is, if you're an in to out or out to in, that has an effect on how you get the club back square. So it's little things and understanding that you and your professional on a one-to-one basis will work well together. It's like having a gym instructor on a one-to-one. You'll always perform at your maximum, suit your needs, not a generalized needs. My name is William Noble. This session was all about understanding what a good lesson is, good setup is, and not keep giving yourself quick fixes to tie yourself into knots. And I'll speak to you soon.